Hello and welcome to the Dream Team Tonic podcast. This evening, joined by Ben. How you doing, mate?
How you doing?
All good, all good. Eventful game we've just had, wasn't it? Spurs United. Did you watch it?
I caught bits and bobs of it. Fascinated with the old Solanke finish at the end there. Thank God I brought him in this week.
I was sort of scouting him and I was thinking it's not going too well until right at the end. And he popped up, didn't he?
Fox in the box.
We've got Tony, who will have to keep going in and out of mute. Because let everyone hear the rain first. Let everyone hear it just for a minute.
Honestly, no sooner than I come into conservatory to get set for the pod, it started absolutely tonking it down. It has calmed a little bit, but yeah, I'll be in and out of mute all night, I think.
You need to move south, mate. We'll get out the conservatory.
Well, there is that.
What we'll do, we'll go through our team, see how we're getting on so far. We're obviously, we're streaming this live to our Patreon members, so I'll shout out a few guys in the chat. But we'll go through our teams. But obviously, we've only had the weekend games so far. We still got the second fixtures to come, but we'll be talking about whether those second fixtures are even worth targeting, won't we? In a minute. Our double game weeks, all that. Miss Snoopy is in the chat. We've got Owen Higgins and Andy Barnett, Graham Nobbles, Nathan Wisby, Mark Warner, and Patrick Guitar, and Gaz Paul as well. So good evening, everyone that's joining us live. Let's have a look at our teams. If you could all leave a like as well, and if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe to the channel to support us. Who wants to go first? Should we go with Mr. Rain, Tony?
Go on, mate. We'll do it. I read a few out wrong last week, because I'm squinting to try and see that head scores on there, so I'm going to get my own up. In goal, Martinez conceded 2 at Ipswich. Good game, actually. But yeah, he's not ripped up trees, but it's better than having a zero pointer every week like I was doing last year. So yeah, just the 2 points for him. Trent only got the 3. Vardiol, it's about time. I think Vardiol owners have got a little bit of points back for the cash. 13 points, really nice haul with a goal. Shame he couldn't get the clean sheet as well. Lewis, who I brought in, and after the clean sheet went, I was a little bit devastated. My plan was to bring in Udogie. But then when I seen Luke, because I didn't think Lewis would start, I had the same money for both. I had both on my radar, but as soon as Lewis was starting, I'm thinking, well, he could be involved in both games, so I'm going to go Lewis. Nice couple of fixtures for City. We were a tough game at Newcastle.
I thought you still had Udogie. That's why I messaged you earlier. I was like, Udogie's injured.
No. I did put it. I managed to tune in just before I set off to the Rovers on Saturday. I couldn't make it, but we had an early kickoff, so I couldn't make the live stream. So I did just put into comments just that I fancy Udogie. He's got in my team, and then I was doing something in the kitchen. I had you playing, and then once someone had posted that Lewis was starting, I thought, got to have a bit of recall Lewis starting, and I was guessing he'd be in a more advanced role possibly. So yeah, that swung it. And then obviously once he lost the clean sheet and only come out with 2 points, I'm thinking, jeez, it's done me on it. And then Udogie goes and he was looking really good first half. And then he goes down, doesn't he? And I'm thinking, he's going off injured. Jed Spence was ready to come on. I was like thinking, the gods have shone on me once. And anyway, carried on till half time, which he actually came off for the start of the second half today, so we didn't get the clean sheet. Probably won't be involved in midweek now. So maybe the Rico Lewis move was the better move, and I've got away with that one. So yeah, Lewis just the 2 points, but hopefully they've got that plum fixture, haven't they, in midweek? Hopefully grab a few goals and a clean there. Onto midfield, Diaz, 2 pointer. He is proving a little bit like the Mahrez of Dream Team. Up and down. You've got to catch these holes that he's getting. We're just going to leave him in for a while and pick up the points that way. Savinho was my second transfer in. I said I'm going to leave one space open every week for a punt, for a differential. He was my punt this week. I thought he'd start. So a little bit disappointed that he didn't start, but I do know that surely he gets maybe 90 minutes midweek now. So in probably a better fixture for him, which he could do quite well. So only the point from him. Finally, Rodgers gets a goal. He's been brilliant this season, Rodgers. He really has. He's looked so good. He's just not quite got the points that match his performances, but he is starting to pick up them points. So he's a cracking asset at such a good price. I'm surprised that he is not even higher on than what he is. He's such a good player. Saka, 14. I'm pretty sure that was 16 last time I looked at it.
Yeah, he had an assist removed, wasn't it?
Right. Well, 14 points for Saka then. Decent haul ahead of PSG at home. Where I still expect him. He'd probably do well. Does well in most games, Saka. Kulusevski, finally. It was all with the Brendan Johnson. Obviously Brendan Johnson's a little bit priced, well, quite a bit higher. So it always depends on your price point to who you go for. But he's finally got a bit of what he deserves because he's been pretty brilliant in the last few games that I've seen him. So yeah, finally gets a bit of that. 13 points. Salah 11 points. Went pretty simple this week with Haaland, just because not so much for the Newcastle game, but he could go off in that second game. So although he's a few points behind Salah this week, which would have been my other choice, he's still got time, midweek fixtures. But yeah, 78 overall, climbed some green arrows, so I'm happy enough, starting to recover.
I wondered what you would have done for the captaincy, because you like a rogue one, don't you, at times? And this one was quite close.
Yeah,
Salah let you download, didn't he, before?
Yeah, he did. And I was tempted by Max Captain. But I'd be so pissed if I played my Max Captain and Haaland just howled. It'd just be such a waste. So I want either his fixtures to be trickier or that is a tricky fixture for Haaland. His fixtures to be trickier or him to be out injured, and then probably use it then.
Awesome. Ben, want to take over?
Yeah. 76 points for me. 706 points now. I brought in Solanke for 11 points and Tielemans, who got 3 points so far. Yeah, Tielemans has been doing really well, so I'm pretty happy about the move. He'll just tick along, getting points. Tough fixture this week, midweek. He's got Bayern Munich, but yeah, he's a good player, and I got 0.3 rise out of him as well, and Solanke, so up to 55.9 million now. Yeah, Martinez, same in goal. Alexander-Arnold, same. De Ligt, 1 point. Still come away with a bonus point, though. Yeah, not great, though. They don't look very good, do they, United? I've got a 0.6 rise out of De Ligt so far, so it could be one for the chopping block. But, yeah, he's a decent defender. Yeah, I said last week he gets a goal every 5 games. I meant he gets a goal every 10 games. I did say to the Patreon members after the pod. But yeah, he's always in there and around the box, so he's a decent player for attacking fixtures. But obviously Spurs are a decent side. Porro got a clean sheet, so yeah, happy with that. Probably won't play in Europe though, so might be another one who I might have to move on.
I wonder if that Udogie injury might mean he could end up maybe fluking it potentially.
Yeah, because he can play both sides, can't he?
Maybe.
So yeah, he might swap over. Yeah, Saka, 14 points. He was brilliant when he yesterday. Kulusevski, about time he got a goal. He got assist on Thursday as well. 2.7 million, so you can't grumble with that. Diaz, he got a brace last week, didn't do anything, then got a brace the week before that. So yeah, like you say, he's a bit hot and cold, but still plays for one of the best attacking teams in the league in the front three. So I think he's still a good player to have in your team. Solanke,
you'll be
yeah.
sticking?
Huh?
Think you'll be sticking with him?
I don't know yet. Might move him on. But yeah, he's still a good player to have in your team. Still like top 15 players in the game. Solanke, yeah. Salah, penalty, 11 points. Like you said, it was toss up between the two, but I just fancy that Bratislava game midweek. I fancy Haaland to get a good couple of goals. So that's why I put the captaincy on him. I still like the Bologna game for Salah as well. But yeah, Haaland was the highest. Looked like Haaland was going to be the highest captain than he was. So I just wanted to stay in with the crowd this week. I'm inside the top 1K. So yeah, it wasn't looking very good after that Parma 4 goals because I dropped right down to 3K. But I've worked my way back up again. I'm inside the top 1K again now with the Kulusevski and Solanke goals.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bounce back. Yeah, the Haaland one was mad, wasn't it? 80% capped. One of them
in the
ones.
Top 1K.
Yeah, in the top 1K.
Yeah.
Not one that feels like going against.
Mm.
Overall,
if you had a harder Champions League game, I probably would have gone Salah.
Overall was 46.8. Still, we saw there was a few screenshots going around, weren't there, in the Discord and stuff of some people that had capped Parma and some people that had captained Parma and played goal bonus as well, with some absolutely ridiculous scores.
Yeah, and obviously Max captain is on Parma at the minute as well. Yeah. If you've played that,
yeah, I think Andy Barnett I think he's in the chat. I think he's on Max captain with him in this week.
Yeah, I've seen someone with 90 points off Parma from a goal bonus.
Crazy. And then you wonder what. Well, you have to think that they captained him for a single. I know we're going to talk about it in a minute, but those people captained him for a single game week as well against the Haaland or Salah sort of thing. On mine, 85 points for the week. So yeah, like you said, pleased how that's turned out, because as soon as the Parma goals were going in, the ranks were dropping quite a bit. I've actually still ended up on the green arrow this week. I'm at 333rd at the minute.
You've overtaken me now, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, obviously, I played the 12th man, didn't I? So that edged me across. Actually, no, you played yours, haven't you? As well?
Yeah, I played mine, but I only got 4 points for De Bruyne. He went off injured in the second game.
Yeah, I didn't mean to remind you.
So I got 3 points last year for Alvarez and 4 points this year for KDB. So, yeah.
Yeah, my someone went a bit better. I think I had 18 in the end.
Yes, decent.
Yeah, pretty similar. Backline like got Sells, Lewis, Vardiol. This week I bought in Trent for Porro, so of course kicked some life into Porro, keeping a clean sheet. But I didn't see this one being a clean sheet for Spurs. Maybe the red card had a big impact. And so Trent come in for me for Porro and Tielemans for Eze. Both not done it so far. I was actually looking. Do you know when you can have a look and see how much up or down you are from your moves now? I've actually only got one green out of all of them, and it was the week where I took out Nedeljkovic, who got 0, and Isak, who got 1. That's the only. I don't know. I mean, I'm doing all right. So,
but you're still doing well, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah, but there's only one week where my moves actually have been a net positive so far, which is quite funny. Yeah, I'm not bothered about Trent and Tielemans. Like, I've learned more than anyone. You need to be a bit more patient. Saka was mental, wasn't it? 20 player performance marks in that game, wasn't it? Something like that in the Arsenal game.
Yeah.
20.
5
Yeah,
bonus.
20. I don't think I've seen more than that. Maddison, he's been brilliant since the start of the season for me. Doing well again today. Rogers, you've mentioned already, and Kulusevski, we're all on him. I was a bit gutted because it was a 50-50, him and Johnson. And Johnson's obviously the one that's been flying, but yeah, I'm still pretty happy with how Kulusevski's been for the price. And then, nothing to add. Haaland, Salah. So far, so good.
Yeah, 4 goals in a row now for Johnson.
Yeah, maybe we should all delete social media.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Werner looked all right today. I think Spurs look better. I don't know whether it's just and just so you know, we're 9 minutes 30 before the United bashing started on this pod. Just I don't know whether United was so bad, because he was so bad to begin with, but they look so good, Spurs. I think they look better without Son in there. Werner's pace was causing trouble. Udogie coming in that inside, he was like inverted, weren't he, Udogie? He was playing really well. That Spurs attack looks scary. You wanted to be on any of them, really.
Well, if you got points for not scoring one-on-ones, then Werner would have been flying.
No, but I mean, I wonder about how dangerous and how potent that Spurs attack was. Obviously,
he's done us out of two assists for Kulusevski, didn't he? I think that's 2 one-on-ones he put him through.
He did.
But the pacing behind was pretty frightening.
Really troubling for United, that was.
Hey, I know we'll keep the Spurs, the United bashing to a minimum, but do you reckon my Ruud van Nistelrooy before Christmas prediction is looking far off? Might be next week.
I'll let you go, Ben. I think Gary Neville said it all in commentary. Gary Neville's allowed to slate him, I'm not.
What did he say?
Just how awful they are. He just basically said what I said on the last pod. I think since the last time I spoke, they've drawn with Crystal Palace 0-0, drawn with FC 21-1, and then got a right hiding off Spurs. They're not playing well at all.
When I tuned in, United were absolutely battering Spurs, but they only had 10 men, obviously. And then Spurs went down the other end and scored eventually. And then I would imagine that was a bit of a sucker punch.
Yeah, they had a few spells like second half. But yeah.
Damage was done.
You got to part the bus when you're a man down, haven't you?
Yeah.
Spurs don't do that.
Dark arts out. I like Gaz's suggestion that Ruud van Nistelrooy should just start up front. He's got to be better than Xerxes, isn't he?
He'd be better than Rashford.
Right, let's get stuck into some questions, shall we? First one, and we've got quite a few on the subject, so we'll try and just keep this little section on Palmer. The first question is Palmer essential? Obviously, he's banged in his 4 goals, didn't he? In that game against Brighton, 4-2. 1 from the penalty spot. An insane free kick as well. Brilliant. Is he essential though? Ben, do you want to go first?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? With we know Europe, but yeah, special player, so could be interesting, especially with the single game week this week. And yeah, I was looking at the fixtures, and it looks like if they get Newcastle in the cup, they might have an extra game, and Palmer might play in that game because it's Newcastle in the cup. Mm-hmm. So is it game week 9? Just double check that. So yeah, game week 9. So they play Forest at home next week, which is a great game for them. International break. Then they've got Liverpool and Panathinaikos both away. He'll probably only play the Liverpool game. Do you hold him for that? Then you got Newcastle at home, and then possibly Newcastle in the cup, which you imagine will beat Wimbledon, and that's away. But I would imagine he'll play the Carabao Cup game, I reckon. And then game week 10, you got Man United away, which He's done it. He done it against them last year, didn't he? Man United aren't the old Man United, so you'd fancy him there. He won't play in the Noah game in Europe, and then he's got Arsenal at home before the next international break, which is a single game week as well. So really tricky run of fixtures. But if he's playing like he played last week or yesterday, I don't see why not bring him in. But it's still going to be like an 8 to 5. There's going to be players that are around the same price that we're going to get in 8 games, while he's only getting 5, possibly 6 if he plays in that Carabao Cup game. So you got your Haaland, Salah, Saka. I think they've definitely got to be in before Palmer, haven't they? In my opinion. And then you've got the next crowd. I think you've got your Trents, Watkins, who are like same price but going to have more games. It's a bit, for me, it's a bit like I'm not sure which one I prefer at the moment. If Palmer's going to score a couple of goals like that every week, you probably would fancy him. But Watkins can bang, Trent can bang like he did last week. Diaz, you got Diaz and Gabriel for the fixtures, and obviously you can get a goal. Gabriel's quite dear now, but they've got Fulham at home, Wolves away, Sparta Prague in the Champions League, Southampton, and then Tottenham. Is it Tottenham? No, sorry, I'm looking at Man City's fixtures. So they've got Southampton at home, Bournemouth away, Shakhtar in the Champions League, Liverpool and Preston. Yeah, so good fixtures for Gabriel. Diaz, he's been playing brilliantly this season. One of the best players. I've had a bad day yesterday, but still good fixtures. But got Chelsea away. Crystal Palace away, Chelsea at home. You'd fancy them against Chelsea at home, I think. Red Bull away in the Leipzig in the Champions League. Then it's Arsenal away and Brighton away in the Cup. So there you probably could swap to Palmer at some point if you wanted to from Diaz. And then you're not going to go for De Bruyne or Foden at the moment. De Bruyne's injured. Foden is not he's not being used as he was last year. So it's definitely not in. And the other one at that price is Bruno Fernandes, who's just got a red card, so he's not an option. So yeah, the Haaland, Salah, Saka are the ones you definitely want in before him, and then he's definitely, if he can keep up with the scoring he's got now, he's definitely an option with the other ones: Trent, Watkins, Diaz, Gabriel, around that price.
Yeah, it's just like knowing who do you want more, almost, isn't it? Out of the comparisons, because I'd agree with you. Like Saka, I'm gonna take Saka over him. Or maybe we should split it because we've got a single game week. So as single game weeks go, you'd probably say he is essential, wouldn't he? But yeah, when you're comparing them to like double game weeks, still, you'd take Saka, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
over him if it's a double versus a single.
Yeah,
you've got to. You've got to play the right moves, and that is the right move. He scored 34 points this game week. Before that, he were on 45 points. So you've got like Dwight McNeil's up there, only 8 points off him, who's a single game week player. Eze 70 points, only 9 points off him, single game week player. He's just scored a massive chunk of points in one game. Now, I love Cole Palmer. I think he's brilliant. As a double game week player, he is essential. As a single game week player, he is not. At that price point, he can't be essential because you've got to maximise fixtures. And we bleat on about it all the time, but I will, with this format now, with having 2 transfers every week, if Palmer has, say we've got a single next week, if Palmer has a good single versus Saka's good single, I might drop Palmer in and then bring Saka back in the week after. I might choose him over somebody like that. Say, obviously, with the Newcastle, with the cup game and the league game, he's worth bringing in. If he's got a double, he's unreal. He's an unreal asset. But when you're comparing at that price point to if you have Palmer as a single and you can't then afford Saka, who's playing a double, I think it's craziness. Yes, you might have good weeks like this, and fair play to everyone who's still got him, whether that's by luck or judgment. I mean, it's a cracking score, 34 points. But then we always say about making the right decisions and then, to own them afterwards. So if you had a captain Palmer this week who's a single game week player and he hadn't scored, and then you had Salah or Haaland or Saka with doubles who went on to score some monster hauls, you'd be kicking yourself thinking, I've done the wrong thing. I've done the wrong thing because I've captained a single game week player over somebody who has 2 bites of the cherry. I mean, yeah, I completely get some of the arguments where if you're comparing Cole Palmer as a single versus, I don't know, Maddison as a double game week player who might not play that second game, sorry. I get that. But when you're talking premium players and you're talking 6.2 million, I think you have to spend that wisely. And unfortunately for Palmer being left out of that European squad, don't forget I was one that put him in before out of news as well. I went for him. As a double game week player, he's in my team all day long, but not as a single. But I will dump him in and out with the transfers that we've got available.
Yeah, where was these points against Bournemouth when we sold him? He only got 4 points that week.
Yeah, he doesn't. I mean, you're not scoring 4 goals every week. It's just not happening.
He's got it in him, though, hasn't he? He's got it in him. He scored a couple of hat-tricks last year.
Unbelievable. He's unbelievable.
He hit 4 goals in a game last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think he had him then as well. He's unreal. He's unreal. He is such a top player, and he has that ability and the way he plays, and he could score plenty of goals this season. He will score plenty of goals this season. But it's still about maximising. And I just think having a 180-minute player like Saka, 160 minutes because he probably has to have his limp off each game. But yeah, you've got to maximise, and Palmer's not going to score 4 every week.
I tell you who hasn't got him in his dream team? Gareth Southgate.
Yeah, that's not a bench. Well, he won't be either now. I was looking there. One thing that I did see though, but like when you can look at like last year's data on like how many games played. I'm right, I know. Chelsea weren't in Europe, were they? They just had they must have had good cup runs because he still played 46 matches.
They got to the final of the Carabao and the FA Cup, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah, because he played the same amount of games as Saka.
Definitely got to Carabao Cup final.
Saka and him both played 46, so he could still play plenty of matches. But yeah, I had a look at the last season's data for the total points as well that he scored, and then added on the extra point for the goals and assists as well, and then divided it by how many goals to get his average sort of last season, but with a new scoring, and he was on 9 points per game. Now, obviously, it doesn't always fall like that, does it? Because you can get 4 goals in one game, and then for other games you're blanking, sort of thing. But just on an average, you'd like to think at times you can match 9 points with a doubler, can't you? It's just the holes that are the problem.
Saka's just done 14 points in one game, but he didn't even score. It just shows that the ceiling of a doubler is so much higher, especially someone at that price point.
Yeah, it's just time in the halls, isn't it? That's the only problem. I mean, I like what you're saying.
It's personal choice. Yeah, I mean, I personally, I will jump on and off. Anybody, fair play to anybody who wants to sit and hold Palmer, and don't get me wrong, he's going to score you plenty of points. I just, the way I play it, when Palmer gets a 2, and then you've got Saka playing 2 games, and he scores 28, 35 points over 2 games. then you've only got yourself to blame. that's
Yeah.
I would regret it. Personally, I would regret it because I'd be making the wrong decision in my eyes.
Yeah, I guess it's what's the cost if you do put him in for the whole season and leave him there. You might have got this 4 goals, but then will you miss 4 Saka goals or 4 Foden goals when he's playing twice a week? Or it's a hard one to call, and I can see why it's a big question straight after he scored 4 goals and played that well. If we talk about shorter term though, like I was looking at the fixture ticker now, so if you was to get him in next week, you reckon you would hold him all the way through to 9 at least?
I did have the ticker up. Where's it gone? Let's see.
Because he'll have the single in 7.
Yep.
Then you'll probably have to hold him for just Liverpool in the single at Anfield, but he won't get Europe. But then in 9, you could get Newcastle plus the FA Cup fixture. I feel like if I was going to bring him in this week, I would try and hold till then.
Why would you hold him in 8?
Well, you could take him out for the 1 and then bring him back again if you wanted to. But I mean, if he did well in 7, then he's probably going to get a price rise.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It depends on what he actually does against Forest in 7. If he doesn't do anything, then he's going to go down 0.3. But if he scores a couple of goals, then you're going to probably want to hold him for the Liverpool game, which he could probably score in as well because he's an elite player.
But then, so then, in my eyes, I will look at it. So play him in 7 against Forest. If he does well, and he's going to go up, it might make you more likely to hold for the Liverpool game. But then say, I don't know, Havertz scored well against Southampton, so he's going to go up 0.3.
Yeah.
But it not just be jump across to Havertz, get the double off Havertz, and then move back across to Palmer for the Newcastle double in 9.
Yeah, you'd assume that Havertz won't play against Preston North End, for example.
Yeah, so you're shifting your pieces around, but it's about ultimately trying to maximise the points. Now, you could put him in for Forest, take him out for Liverpool, and he might bang against Liverpool. That could happen, but it's about playing percentages and playing what you think. Obviously, the better game is Forest at home than Liverpool away. That's just standard. And we do have the transfers now with 2 a week to be able to just do a bit of okey-dokey in and out with a player that we fancy.
If we don't get injuries.
Yeah, if you don't get injuries, and obviously suspensions and all that comes into it. And you might have somebody who has an absolute stinker and you want to avoid the price drop. You might have someone go on somewhere else. But if you're starting to plan it out, that's just a quick plan, just off looking at the fixtures there. Obviously, Arsenal, nice fixtures in game week 8. You could just do that. You could just hop on and off from Palmer to an Arsenal asset and then back to Palmer for the double.
Reckon that's enough, Palmer?
Yeah. Let's. Last thing about it though. So my missus started a team this week, and she went, I need to do my transfers. I said, right, yeah. So she read her team out to me, and she had Fernandes, who she captained last week. Yeah, as you can see, I'm having no input into her team. She captained Fernandes last week, and she had Palmer in, and I told her to get rid of Fernandes and Palmer. And when Palmer scored his 4th goal, oh God, the daggers. She's like, "You're shit at this game." Yeah.
The thing is as well, like Brighton have looked. I thought Brighton have looked so much more solid at the back than they've looked like for a long time. And then I was watching the highlights back, and they were on the halfway line the entire game, and it's just ball after ball after ball in behind. There was already 2 let-offs, weren't there? 2 offside goals disallowed.
Yeah.
One was Palmer's. He hit the post as well.
He hit the post as well, yeah.
Thinking, what are they doing? But they just carried it on. Yeah, I honestly don't think you can kick yourself if you took Palmer out last week. I know you will.
Yeah, it's a painful one.
Yeah. Hindsight is lovely.
It is.
Um,
It is.
Right. Question 2. Best 4 million midfielder to enable my essential Palmer move. Ben?
I think you got to look around like Rogers, who's 3.1 million. We've been talking about him a few weeks, and he's still cheap. He went up 2.8. He went up from 2.8 last week, 3.1. He's got Champions League, and he's playing in the front two. So yeah, definitely an option. It's not really going mad on the game, but for the money, you can't grumble. Was it 5.4 average, and he just scored today's first goal. So hopefully this is the start of it, because he went on a little run last year at the end of the season as well. Obviously, Brennan Johnson's on fire at the minute. 4 goals in 4 games, averaging in the last 3 9.7 points per game. Kulusevski as well. If you really, obviously you've got 4 million, but if you're really low on funds, Kulusevski 2.7, not guaranteed to start that second game, but still will come on and get some minutes. I think he played about half. He played half the match, didn't he? Last, but yeah, he might not play. Might only play 30 minutes in the next one. I don't know. And I still think Tillemans is a good option at 4 million. Average 7.4 points per game. Yeah, and he's probably on penalties, hopefully, because Watkins ain't the greatest at penalties. So, and like we said before, Douglas Luiz was on penalties before, and then I think Tillemans took the first penalty in a penalty shootout last season. So, be interesting to see who takes them.
Yeah, I had Johnson, Kulu, and Rogers. Just think that it's about getting value for money, isn't it? And if you can go cheaper, doesn't necessarily mean they're not as good as people a bit more expensive. I'm going to cover 2 Arsenal players now. I got asked about so many Arsenal players last week with a good fixture run, and I couldn't say, to be honest, whether I thought Martinelli or Trossard were going to be good options. With Havertz and Trossard just keep swapping around with that striker and like deeper position, was quite hard to say. And then Martinelli, he hadn't scored. I saw a stat. Obviously, there was the summer break, but he hadn't scored since March of last year. Not of last year, of this year. So he hadn't scored since back in March, and he looked really, not very confident in front of goal. And then during that game, he sort of had a big miss, and you saw his head drop again, and you thought, "Oh God, here we go." But he finally got his goal, didn't he? And then after that, he did look electric, really. So, 3.6 million, he could be a shout. Or Trossard at 3.5 again, looked really, really good in that game. And then Southampton up next, so you could punt it on that if you think there's going to be like a 4-5-0. I know it was a sketchy game against you guys, wasn't it, Leicester? But you can't say we didn't have chances.
Yeah. Martinez spawned his goal there, didn't he? Martinelli, sorry, spawned his goal, just scuffed it. Yeah. But once it went in, like the confidence, you could see it grow. Good option.
Yeah, maybe could be a shout. Tony, you got any?
I mean, you mentioned most of them there, aren't you? I would just touch on a couple of City assets. Somebody hoping he has a cracking second game this week is Savinho. Obviously with De Bruyne being out, strange with Ford, and I don't know what's going on there. He just seems to give me again the start.
No one knows, do they?
No, and then I just think there's opportunities there. I like Gundogan as well as a punt. Obviously, it's only a single in it this week coming up, so I do think you could play it a little bit more punty and maybe just pick a fixture you like. I mean, West Ham against Ipswich. Just is it time for Kudos to do one of his nice magic hauls, or?
He went off at half time in that last game.
He did. He did go off early.
Yeah, didn't get a single player performance mark, and I was like, "What is going on here?" I texted one of my mates. a season ticket, and he reckoned that rumours of a falling out. So we'll have to wait and see on Kudus for that one. But
No, well,
I weren't
no
sure
more
on the
than me
City.
then, mate. Stay
I
away
weren't
from that.
sure on City guys to bring in for this week, just where you may get a did not play. In a double, you've got like a chance of at least one of them.
You're right.
But if you can get it right, it is a nice fixture.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go far wrong with the Spurs lads and Rodgers, can you? I mean, like Villa have obviously got United, so, and that's a Bruno Fernandes less United as well.
True,
which, and I know he's not been at his greatest, Fernandes, but he does still have a massive impact on that team. I do think you were a little bit unfortunate today.
I really do. Red.
I think if the ref didn't give a red, they're never ever given a red for that. They're not looking at it and giving a red. I did feel for him a little bit. I do think it was quite harsh. He did slip, but then maybe after he slipped, he shouldn't have reached for that ball.
I just think it was instinct. Like he's trying to win the ball. He then slips. Yeah. You don't then think, "Oh, I'm slipping. I'm not going to go for it now." You're still just going for it.
I've slipped, so I'm going to try and break his leg, or I'm going to stick one on him. I think I think Maddison was saying that to him as well. I think he was saying, "Look, I know you weren't trying to hit me, mate. It's one of them." I think it was quite harsh, but yeah. So they're going to be without him, which really does make that Villa fixture quite attractive for the likes of Rodgers and Watkins, obviously. But obviously, we're talking about before Miller. So Rodgers is probably the man I'd go for.
We've got Mammoth, best keepers apart from Raya. But then he's said preferably below 3.5. So do we just go under 3.5? Or do we maybe want to talk about how do you feel about Martinez versus Vicario now, knowing that Vicario is going to start in Europe? Similar price, 0.1 between them.
I wouldn't go below 3.5. I mean, you just got to try and find the money and go for a European keeper. At the moment, Vicario is my favourite keeper out of the two. Especially starting in Europa, the fixtures are easier for them than Aston Villa. I did not expect Vicario to start. I thought Forster would have started in Europe. But with him starting and getting a clean sheet against them and then getting a clean sheet against United, obviously another 10 men. So he's one, was he 3.7, one more than Martinez, who's 3.6.
Yeah.
I think it's worth going for the Spurs keeper. Definitely. Villa's not really getting the clean sheets at the minute, but it's still worth getting a double game week goalie in. Obviously, next week is only a single, so it's probably not a priority for Mammoth.
Yeah.
But one to look at.
Just that price might go up, that's all.
Yeah. If Vicario plays against Ferencvaros on Thursday, then I think Vicario.
Yeah, I second that. Yeah. I think you've nailed it there, Ben. I think, like you say, you've got to have a European keeper, and I think Vicario, if he is playing those games week in, week out in the Europa, then you've got to go for him.
You're still in agreement that it's the last place should upgrade, though.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
You want doublers outfield before you keep.
Yeah, if you're going to have a single game week player and you have to, I mean, that's your keeper.
The only one that I saw that, and I know it won't be everyone's cup of tea, but I did think 2.9 Pickford, the fixtures get a little bit better. I know they've been bad the start of this season. They've just got Branthwaite back. They've now got Mikalenko back. They're finally starting to look like a back four again. So I did think that could be. They do seem to get a good string of clean sheets at some point in the season. But yeah, for an extra, 0.8, get to Vicario, or 0.7 Martinez. Yeah, I'm not sure.
If Vicario keeps clean sheet again on Thursday, then that's another rise, 0.3 rise in it. So could be one to get in.
Aman, Solanke or Havertz? We'll probably quick fire a few of these because we've got a load of questions still.
Oh, I like
Can
both.
elaborate.
I like both. I think they're both good options. Guns ahead, and he had to choose one. Solanke.
Yeah, same again. If he plays against Ferencváros, then Solanke. If not, then Havertz. So yeah, just it's that what happens on Thursday for me. He played last Thursday, so at the moment Solanke.
Yeah, same. Solanke, I just think obviously you do save yourself a little bit of money, and I don't think there's going to be that much difference between it. I think it'll be fairly similar. If Son's out, you might get Penn still for Solanke potentially.
Yeah. If you go for Havertz, you might get a ball bounce off your ass and go in like you did on Saturday.
And you just know, where Solanke is. He's the centre forward. He's in the box. Like PSG Havertz could be that more defensive role again. That's what we did against Atalanta. We had Jesus up front, Havertz in mid, and then I'd rather the out and out striker. Doesn't mean Havertz is a bad pick at all, but out of the two. Anything to add on Savinho? Like, I don't think I'd bring him in this week, even though we did put him as our differential of the week for this week. He's still got a game to go.
Yep.
But I think he's right. He's put that even though he's a min's risk, do it in a double.
I think you're just going to watch it. Like, you know what Pep's like. He might have just... the lineup looked to me a bit more defensive than
Very.
I'd have expected. I think he put on a lot of... they're not defensive players, don't get me wrong, but he left a lot of his floor players on the bench, and I think it was a strange move.
Yeah,
I do. I think they deserve to only get a point from it because, like, you got like Ford and Savinho on bench. These are your game changers, and it just looked like he'd gone to pack out and nullify Newcastle a little bit. It was a strange one, but yeah, I think Savinho is still a good option. I think we'll see more. Obviously, now it's an easy one where you go, Savinho, no, he only got a few minutes, but you don't want to go there. But it comes to midweek, and he might absolutely smash it. So maybe he becomes a good option again.
He was so good against us.
I think he's earned his way into that side and being a starter and somebody who is getting consistent minutes. So they can't just drop him out. He's got to start this week.
Yeah, I agree. I think like you said, Savinho could do well midweek, and probably I reckon he will start. And then, then you see what happens midweek, and then, I probably wouldn't bring him in for the Fulham game if we don't know what the starting lineup's going to be. But if it's a double game week, he's going to get minutes, so he's still a good option, and he takes some set pieces as well. So, decent first price.
And then the third question from Aman: is it viable to go with an Arsenal or Man City block defence? Thoughts on that, Ben?
I don't think I'd go full block with either at the minute. I'd just keep looking at the prices. There's quite a few cheapies playing at the minute. Just monitor it. Calafiori's 3.3, Lewis is 3.8, Timber's 4.1, and Akanji's 4 million. They've all been playing a lot recently, so I'd probably look at bringing in a couple of them if you're going to be doing defense wise. I wouldn't go too big on Gabriel or anyone at the minute. Just I think, like you say, the attacking players, you want to get your money there, but if you've got the money, Gabriel's definitely a good option.
Tony?
Can you afford to block?
It's a lot of money, isn't it?
It's so much money. I mean, it'd be nice, especially for the last few weeks, to have had an Arsenal block up until recently. But I don't think you can afford it, can you? I think you could have a bit of dribs and drabs here and there. I've got Trent in my defence. Takes up a lot of budget, but he's not in there for clean sheets. He's in there because he does what he does, and he can get some nice, decent holes. I think same with Vardiol. He's got that He's got that forward asset, not just keeping clean sheets, not like having I don't know, like a Saliba, Calafiore. It's I just don't think you can afford to block. Because if you were to choose to have an Arsenal block, who do you want? Gabriel, Saliba. It would have been Ben White. I don't know what's going on there. Like, obviously, he's not started the last couple of games.
Groin injury.
Right. So, but you add them three up. I mean, you're having to drop out Saka from your team or Salah. You're going to have to drop one of these big hitters out to try and block a team. Yeah. So, I just don't think it's viable at the minute.
Like we said, I think we said it last week, didn't we? Like on the defenders, or most of the defenders, the ceiling is like pretty much clean sheet.
Yeah.
With like, you could get a goal. That's why we've got like a Trent or Vardiol, but like they're not regular.
No, it's nice when they happen, but it isn't every week. And...
If you had Trent, would you move him on to get in a City or a Arsenal defender?
No.
For this period where Liverpool's fixtures get tough in game week 8.
Well, I've only just bought him in, so I didn't really mind the fixtures anyway. But I mean, you could make an argument this week to swap Trent to Palmer, couldn't you? If you were worried about it. I do like the look of Timber. I wanted to go Timber this week, but I just wasn't sure what was going to happen, whether or not Ben White was fit. Arteta done his press conference, and I think he just said Raya was out, and Raya could be out, but he wasn't. We'll wait and see. I think Timber trained, but he wasn't sure on Calafiore or Ben White, so it was all up in the air. So I didn't go for Timber in the end, but I think I would consider him for the Southampton game. It sounds like Calafiore could have an injury as well now. So
he's done well, Timber. He has done well.
Yeah, he looked good, got an assist. I saw something about one of the most amount of chances of defenders made in a game, but only one was a big chance.
I think Arsenal have managed him back well. I think obviously the injury, long-term injury, and then picking up a few niggles, I think they've done really well with him. So he looks fit as a fiddle. He's playing week in, week out now. No doubt he was a great signing when they signed him. Obviously not been able to see it yet, but yeah, he's doing really well. He was a good option. Yeah. But like you say, with Ben White, weren't like a tentative tip to say bring in Timber.
Yeah, you had to wait and see, I think.
Yeah.
I wouldn't full block, but I definitely am interested in keeping. I mean, I'm on 2 City at the minute, and I wouldn't mind adding Timber to the mix as well, really. They are. I know they concede the odd goal, don't they, City? But I still think in general they control matches.
Yeah.
But they are strong defence. Maybe Rodri makes it a bit worse, though. Sticking on defence, Patrick needs to upgrade Keane. He's already got Trent and Lewis. So what defender would you bring in for a replacement? Budget is no problem for him.
I was thinking about this one and thinking, now with Rodri being out, and obviously we've seen Rico Lewis play that role before, more as probably an inverted right back, as you want to call it, but it's pretty much within the same position as a CDM and controlling the game from there and breaking things up as well. But do you think that Rico Lewis's minutes now are going to be a hell of a lot higher had Rodri not been injured? I think he might become a pretty much mainstay in that City team.
Yeah, I think he looks brilliant. I watched that game, and it shocked me at first because they had Lewis in the team, didn't they? But then they had the back four as well. So they had was it Walker, Diaz, Akanji, and Vardiol. Yeah. And I was like, I wonder what's going to happen here. And Akanji was the guy who was actually moving from the back line into midfield alongside Kovacic, and Lewis was just free roaming up in like number 10, or you want to call it an 8. It's pretty crazy with Gundogan.
On the heat map, it was around a number 8 position.
Yeah. So I'm just going to consider him as like a mid who could get you clean sheets. I think a bit like how we say on Trent, but obviously not as potent.
Yeah, I think he's a great option, and I think to upgrade Keane with no budget, cheap way into a City player. I just think it's a no-brainer. It's good to Lewis. Oh, sorry, he's already got Trent and Lewis. Right.
I've put Timber. I think Timber is a good pick.
I think Timber and Guardiola. Timber's obviously he seems to have nailed his place, doesn't he? Like I say, if Calafiore has got an injury, obviously Ben White's nursing something as well. Timber's a great option.
Yeah, I like Vardio to come in if he keeps another clean sheet. He's $1 million cheaper than Gabriel. Probably get a 0.3 rise as well. Fixtures are all right for Man City. The only thing that scares me is a single game week next week, and he could easily just be rested in one game. But he's just had his rest, hasn't he? So I don't think he will be rested. It's just it is risky. Obviously, Gabriel's more nailed, but it's 1 million more. So it's up to you. But yeah, I probably would gamble on it and go for Vardio and get the points rise, because I think he'll get at least another 8 points midweek. So he should get to at least 21 points this week. Should be on 0.3 rise. I do like the Timber shout. It's quite cheap as well if you want to keep some money for outfield attacking players as well. It's always good to try and keep money in the bank for someone who's more elite up the field eventually. Build your attacking players, because that's where all the points are.
What do you think on Trent as well? Because he's put as question 2: is Trent value for money in this cautious Liverpool setup, or more cautious Liverpool setup? I think this is a hard one, because I would always have just without hesitating just said yes. But then after this week, seeing Palmer at the same price point smashing in goals, it does cloud it a little bit. But what do you reckon, Ben?
I'm not considering selling him yet. Obviously, the fixtures are all right next week. He's got Palace away. And obviously he's gone up from 5.5 now to, what is he now, 6.2?
6.2,
yeah.
0.3.
So, yeah, I can see what you mean. It's getting dearer, but he's such a great player to have in your team. Just plug him in and let him play. He's like a midfield. He's a bit like Rico Lewis, just in midfield. He gets the attacking returns as well as and he gets the bonus of the clean sheets. Liverpool are solid at the back this season, so he'll still get the clean sheet points. I still like him.
I think I was talking to Connor about it, but we were talking about his corners, because I think he took 2 corners yesterday. I think Robertson took 7 or 8. But they weren't taking them off each side; they were swapping. It was really hard to sort of figure out what the reason behind it was. But
mixing it up,
I do wonder if he's just been a bit unlucky with not taking as many set pieces as usual, or he put that cross in that Jota was going to get on the end of, and then he got dragged down for the pen as well. And you think maybe that could have been an assist as well.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. That's obviously with regards to corners and stuff like that. That's going to change game by game. Obviously, whether they're trying to target a keeper, a certain area of the opposition's defensive lineup of the corner, that's tactics in it. I pretty much think that's all that's down to. He's usually taking a hell of a lot of corners in here, so it's one to keep an eye on though. But you wouldn't just see him punched off corner taking. I think it's more of a targeted tactic that.
Yeah, maybe.
And I think he is value for money.
No Dawson or something.
Yeah.
I still do think he's value, but yeah, that was the only thing that was sort of messing with me. Is like we said, Palmer's not going to score 4 every week. We might be clipping that up, but looking at them side by side this week, it doesn't look worth it. But yeah,
we've had the Onana won't score every week.
Yeah.
To now Palmer won't score 4 every week. Yeah, you just know what's happening, don't you?
I still think he's value. go back a week and he's got a 14 pointer. Oh, he's value for money. This week he's just got 3 points. Oh no, he's not value for money anymore.
You know how it works.
He's decent. Yeah, I think he's decent. Pedro Porro took him out this week. Got a clean sheet this week already. He's probably going to now play Europe after not playing Europe. Nathan Reeve 24. If we don't see Porro on Thursday, is it time to move him on? He's up to 4.5. And he's asked is Timber a good option to replace him? So I think we've said that Timber's good enough option. But what do you think on that?
Yeah, I think obviously if Porro don't play on Thursday, especially if Udoji's injured as well, I think you're probably looking at a single game week player as regards to Europe until it gets into the later rounds. And Timber's a cracking option.
Yeah, I could be tempted to go to Vardio or something like that, or Rico Lewis. But Rico Lewis is getting a bit more dearer now, so he's probably not guaranteed to play every week. But with Rodri being injured, like you said before, he's most likely going to get more minutes now. But yeah, I think Vardio's a really good option. At that same price now, aren't they? 4.6, 4.5. So yeah, he's Vardio. How much was he at the start? 5 million.
4.5, I think.
4.5. So he's not really moved. And Porro's gone up to 4.5 from 4 million. Yeah, so it's a good little sideways move.
I just think the only thing you might want to consider, I suppose, is if it is just a single. Porro is probably one of the better single game week defenders, isn't he? And you'd probably only want to move him to. I mean, Timber's got Southampton, so that is a nice fixture as well. But yeah, if you can put it off to and do it before a double game week, then maybe it's a little bit more effective. But
if
it's never going to be a problem.
If it was like a game week every week, I'd definitely want Porro before Timber, just for the potential attacking returns.
Yeah, I agree.
But obviously, you want to get European players in for the extra bonus points.
There was the second part of his question. I think we've covered it though. Is it worth the extra money to get Martinez in goal, or is Muric a better option to get more money spent outfield? Let you have this one, Ben, because you did talk about Muric at one point, didn't you?
Yeah, it's just team dependent. If you're still hovering around 50 million, you could do the Muric move and move some money to get some better players outfield. But if you've worked it well and worked your budget up, definitely go for a European keeper by now.
Just as you've mentioned budget there, we'll skip to Ian's question quickly, and then we'll go back up to Graham's. How much budget are we all on?
55.9 now I'm on.
I'm 55.7.
56.1.
Oh, money. Yeah.
Smashing it. That's the biggest one. I haven't really been looking, but I think that's the biggest one I've heard.
Well, last 2 game weeks, I haven't chased budget either. I said I was happy with, I think I got to 54, was it 54.9, 55.1 or something like that. Just said I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to start making, that's when I brought in John Duran. Obviously got 18 points last week, took him out. Give up the 0.3 rise, I'm not bothered. Gone to Savinho, and I did Robinson out to Lewis. Robinson did all right this week, didn't he, as well? He got a 9-pointer, I think.
Yeah, he got a clean sheet.
But yeah, I mean, I'm down to a full team of European players now. And just touching on Nathan's question is, between Martinez and Muric, is if you're still striving to improve your outfield team, then Muric is a good enabler as a one week game player. But yeah, if you've no other problems, then you want to start to try and get a European keeper in if you can.
Graham's question. So this debate was kicking off one evening in the Discord. I think might have been Friday night or Saturday night. But obviously, like you mentioned, Robinson, for example, people are improving their team to try and get double game week players in. And we've had a few instances like Robinson. People took him out because they wanted to try and get a doubler in, and he's kept a clean sheet. There's going to be weeks, isn't there? And Buemo is on a good run at the minute. He's only got single game weeks. He's scored back to back, is it now? Goals, and he's on a good run as well. He's only got single game weeks coming. So there was a lot of talk about, are we focusing too much on double game week players? Graham said, so I wanted to separate this, but Graham's question was Cole Palmer, 2.1% owned in the Tonic Cash League. So only 2% of our community league have Palmer, but 49% of the game have Palmer. Is the obsession of trying to get a full team of double game week players clouding our judgment?
So
I think we need to separate it, don't we?
Well,
Palmer
just
and then double
off
game
that,
players.
because I know you just said the community, but the Tonic Cash League, I mean, that's there's some top players in that aren't involved in our Patreon, aren't involved. Whether I'm presuming they listen to the pod, but obviously they make their own decisions, their own judgments. I think it's quite telling. I know what point Graham's trying to make there, but I would say that's actually more telling that in the Tonic Cash League, most of the top players are in there, and there's only 2.1% of them own Cole Palmer.
I've got a few leagues. I'm obviously in all your competitive leagues, but I've got a few leagues where I'm in with friends, family, and the guys with the massive scores this week are the guys that have not made transfers all season that put Palmer in to start with. There's a few that captained Palmer for the double game week against Barrow, or probably captained Cole Palmer this week thinking that he'd play in Europe, but didn't know that he's not in the squad.
Yeah.
Over the overall number, not to downplay it, but the overall percentage number, a lot of people start playing the game and then don't carry on as well, don't they? And Palmer would have been in there just because he was one of the top scorers. So it's hard to differ. The percentage is quite high for that reason, I think. We talked Palmer to death, but the obsession of double game week players. There's a bit of a revolt in the Discord at the minute of people saying, should we go for single game week players instead of double game week players? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you this. In the Tonic Cash League, I hope 85% of them start just targeting single game week players, leaving the double game week players out, and leave all the cash prizes to me and the rest of us. Look, it's been kicked off by this Palmer Hall, and obviously, as soon as he got kicked out of his European squad, he pretty much become a little bit of an asset at 6.2 million. You want to be playing every other week, as we touched on earlier. I don't want to repeat myself from earlier on in the pod, but you need them to be playing double game weeks. If we take Palmer out of the equation, we look at the likes of, I don't know, Robinson versus Rico Lewis. I think when it comes to it, these players that are playing double game weeks are going to outscore the single game week players. They're going to play possibly 15, 20 games more a season. And when it gets to the end of it, the scores will tell. That might not be the case for someone like Cole Palmer, who can score 4 goals, 3 goals, 2 goals. He can keep his scoring up. But with the rest of, if he's talking about the obsession of double game week players and it being a broad range of players that we're just bringing in because they're double game weeks, it's just where the game's played.
Yeah, I was looking at
how
it.
you maximise points.
The points. This isn't exact. I remembered looking at it a couple of days ago when the question came up, but I've not got it in front of me. But I think it was something like in the top 30 players for the last season. I'm sure there was 3 or 4 players that didn't play in Europe, for example.
Yeah.
And some of them were
That sounds
Palmer,
about right.
who's played in FA Cup and Carabao the whole way through. So they're still a double game week player at times. But yeah, just as a general rule, like if there's two people of a similar value and they're both good, we're not talking about they're the similar value, but one person's a bad pick and one person's a good pick. If they're both good picks, if one's got 2 fixtures a week and the other one's got 1, it might go one week, it might go the other way. So like this week, Robinson keeps a clean sheet, but someone whose his value might not keep 2 clean sheets. But over the course of time, you're giving yourself the chance there, aren't you, to get extra games. You get points just for playing in the games. Yeah. You're just giving yourself the chance to get lucky, aren't you? It's the whole reason why captaincy is so powerful, because you're getting an extra player in your team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say I've been looking at the scores from last year, and just in the top 15, Cole Palmer's the only one that's not played in Europe last year, and he had the Carabao Cup final last year and the must have been the semi-finals or the quarterfinals of the FA Cup last year, and obviously he scored 25 goals, so he is an elite player. And then you look at this year's points, you've got McNeil's up there, Eze, obviously Palmer, but
even
these
that,
players, go on.
Sorry, even that is false so far, because the big clubs didn't come into the cup until this week, and they're not playing their main squads either. So actually, like the Ezes have played more.
Eze has been playing in all the Carabao games.
Yeah, and he's been getting most of his points.
He's been rinsing it. Yeah. He's been rinsing it.
Yeah,
that's what I was just about to say.
Sorry.
Obviously, as the Champions League, and we've only played one game, haven't we, in the Champions League? So as they start playing all the extra games, and then they get later in the Carabao Cup, all the better players, I mean the European players, are going to play more games, and then your Ezes and Mbumos, McNeil's are going to fade away, and they'll drop down. Yeah. It's just play the fixtures, isn't it? At these early rounds, you bring them in and you get them in. Obviously, we know that Eze does well. You had McNeil, but you chucked him, didn't you, after the first week? You should have kept him. But, yeah, that's just the way he goes. Early rounds, get on the few players that are good for on the points matrix. Yeah, basically. But Palmer's probably the only one now who's a single game week player that you would consider, because he's just so explosive.
It's the name of it. Like, I mean, you both play plenty of formats as well, but it's just the name of the game in all formats, isn't it? In Telegraph, like I started playing Telegraph for the first time, and you, Ben, were telling me, oh, you've got to look for the extra fixtures. You've got to jump off this player to get extra fixtures, because extra fixtures are typically extra points.
Yeah.
The same with FPL. Like, when do you play your chips? You play your chips in a double game week. Why? Because your double game week players give you more chance to get lucky. It's the reason why we want to play our goal bonus when players have doubles. Yeah. You're just giving yourself more chance.
It's said
there will be times
put 3 or 4. Sorry, mate. Put 3 or 4 single game week players in your team and then play your goal bonus. You're doing yourself out of 4 games.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. It's not an obsession. It's a tactic, and it's a tactic that it gets you to the top.
Yeah, it might not pay off in a 1 week sample or a 2 week sample, but like over the course of the season, you're just giving yourself that chance, aren't you, to get lucky, or not even lucky. You mentioned it. I think we should ban it, to be honest, from topics anymore. But Charlie Choyne, McNeil, surely essential after this single game week. He scored another 2 yesterday, playing number 10. I'm taking him every goal I'm taking personally at this point. I only had him in a week. Playing number 10 though, he does look really good in that number 10 position. But I wouldn't say he's essential.
No.
Played well, picking up points, isn't he? Scoring goals. It's been a painful one, that, for you, Scott, because you did give him the big up at the start of the season. Had him in. jumped off him too early. Live and learn, though. Live and learn, like when you do your homework on a player like that. And he's
I must say, though, I mean, I did my homework and liked him. I did not think he'd be scoring 2 goals a game.
No,
he's got a goal less than Salah.
Yeah, he's playing a different position as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
Do you know, I think if Everton started a little bit better, I think if Everton had done a little bit better in their games, I think you'd be more inclined to keep him. I think because they was struggling, I think it's easier to jump off a player if the team's doing shit.
Yeah.
And they was in that boat, so but yeah, he's doing well. Ex-Dingle, so I don't want to talk you up too much, but yeah, he's having a great start to the season. Charlie, you could bring him in, take out Fernandez for him if you want.
I tell you what, they could do a signing him. To be honest,
yeah,
could do a lot worse than that.
I need to get rid of the manager first.
Andy Barnett, he's mixed it up this week with a long question. In past seasons, it was good to pile on 4 or 5 players from one team with a great fixture, almost ensuring that you get all of the attacking returns. For example, we saw it with City, didn't we? At times, you'd try and get all the City mids in, hoping one goes off. And he's looked at the top 10 scorers in each position. He's found the top 10 strikers are all from 9 different clubs. Top 10 midfielders, 10 different clubs. Top 10 mids and strikers combined, 20 players from 13 clubs. And the defenders, top 10 are from 5 clubs. Would it be safe to say bulk picking from a single club is now not a good strategy?
Well, the stats there that he's shown, obviously, we are from a small sample so far in the season, but it's going to be more congested as obviously the top level European games start, and as these Champions League games start hitting every week or every other week, you will see the likes of McNeil and Boomo, Eze dropping off the top 10 charts, and this is where you will see actually it's from 4 or 5 clubs rather than the 10 different ones. We always see this at the start of the season when there's no Europe. It is fair game. You've got to go out there, pick some diamonds, and then slowly start to move and transition your team over to the European game. It's the same every season. I don't think we've got the ability to be able to bulk pick because the pricing is probably better than years gone by. So, like we were just touching on, you can't have an Arsenal block because you'd have to give up too many of your premium players to do it. So it's just not a good strategy. So I think it's more down to pricing than anything that it's not a good strategy because you would have to lose too many big hitters. But yeah, it's an interesting sample from early doors. But again, I don't think that's gonna be the same in 2 months' time as we get towards Christmas.
Yeah, I think you covered it pretty well there. I was just going to say, as we get further in the season, it's so fixtures dependent. Obviously, like later in the season, if teams get further in competitions, they're going to have more fixtures than other teams. So you're going to possibly pile into a bit more Man City or Liverpool or Arsenal. Just depends who goes furthest in Europe and stuff like that, and FA Cups, Carabao Cups. So, yeah, pretty much covered it well, mate.
Yeah. And then the second question: how many from your? I thought this was an impossible one. How many players from your current team do you think will still be in your team at Christmas?
Just the elite players for me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You got your Salah, Haaland, Saka.
I wrote down
them 3. Yeah, probably they're definitely going to be in there if they're all fit. Then it's dependent, team dependent, transfer fixture dependent. Probably Trent still be there, possibly. Yeah.
I think pretty much most of my team. I think I'll probably chop and change with 2 positions. Savino, obviously, depending on how he does. I mean, if he has a cracking week, I'll probably just leave him in. Hope he starts the next game. It is going to be performance dependent and obviously injury and other things. But with them all being in Europe, playing Europe, having the games, I don't see any need to move this side now. I think I've got options across all the top sides that are playing in Europe. I probably would like Solanke in. I would. I've been impressed by him early doors. I know he's not scored as many points as what he's probably threatened to, but I probably would like to have Solanke in. So he might come in at some point. But other than that, I mean, you've got Trent, Saka, Kulusevski, Diaz, Rodgers, Salah, Haaland, Vardiol. I mean, top players. I'm happy with my team at the minute.
Yeah, I just thought it was like that three, the Salah, Haaland, Saka, are the only three that would have to do something dramatic to sell, like an injury. But other than that, I think I'll probably be fairly flexible. If someone's going to blank for a couple games, 3-4 games in a row, then I will probably move them on. You mentioned Solanke, third best striker, everyone.
I still like Havertz as well. I do. But yeah, Solanke or Watkins.
Yeah, I just like the price point, Solanke, at the minute.
Yeah, that's it. I think that tips in his favour, doesn't it?
Definitely. That's why I brought him in as well. We've been having a good week last week. Definitely get price rise. What did I say my team value was?
Can't remember.
55.9, I think you said.
I was 56.9.
Oh, there you go. And you said you've not seen anyone at 56.1.
Yeah. Do you know what? When you said yours was 55.9 and I said mine was 55.7, I thought that's funny because you were ahead of me quite a bit on budget at one point. Yeah. Philip says he's at 56.8 in the chat, so that's a decent one as well. Right. We sort of had it last week, but we brushed over it fairly quick. We're still pushed for time now, aren't we? But goal bonus in game week 8. Have you had any more thoughts on it? It's gaining traction. I've had a lot of people ask me, like on Twitter and stuff, about this week. Have you considered it? Are you considering it?
Yes, I had a quick look. I made a note. 1 second, if I can find it. Yeah, I think it was game week 8 was decent. What do you think?
I like it. Like I'm not going to talk anyone out of it. I think you can. A lot of the double game weeks look pretty good. Salah and Haaland both in good form at the minute as well. Two of the best players. I think the fixtures all look nice. I'm not going to talk through each of the possible fixtures, but I do think they all look pretty good there. It is 1 week. I think it's straight back after international break, which always is a bit iffy.
You don't like them, do you?
No, it's always a little. It's always a bit iffy straight after international break because someone always comes back with something. But yeah, I think the fixtures look fine, and I've got no problem. I'm definitely not going to talk anyone off of doing it. I would say Cole Palmer is only going to have a single game week that week.
Against Liverpool away.
Yeah, at Liverpool away, and he'll
get one that week. That'll do, won't it?
No, he'll get 4 he'll get 4 goals that week. He scores 4 every week. But I think you'd save it for a double Premier League week, wouldn't you? Where Salah, where Palmer will score 8 goals.
I thought he was crap because he didn't score in the second half.
There was a Premier League double that I thought looked quite good. It was quite far away though.
Was it 31? Oh.
No, I think 16.
16, yeah.
It might have been.
Yeah.
God, my eyes go funny when I look at this far ahead on the ticker. He's got Everton away, Fulham at home. I think there was some nice Crystal Palace and Ipswich for Arsenal. City have got Villa and Everton. Liverpool have got Leicester. So there's quite a lot of like teams that have just come up playing decent sides as well. So I think there's plenty of opportunities. But yeah, I do think 8 looks good.
What was the one that I seen? I'll just double put.
I still stand by that. I still
The
stand
only-
by that. I think later on you'll be able to get bigger players or more big hitters in your team.
Game week 22, on my fixture ticker, every team in Europe's got a green fixture in the Premier League apart from Man City, who have Chelsea at home. And Chelsea only play Man City that week because they don't play because they've only got 6 fixtures in Europe, Chelsea. But yeah, you've got Arsenal's got Wolves and Girona, if you want to say it that way. Liverpool's got Ipswich and PSV. Villa's got West Ham and Celtic. Who's that one? I think it's Man United's got Fulham and Steaua Bucharest. And Tottenham's got Leicester and Elfsborg. But it's the last game of the group. So there might be rotation then because they might know who's going to go up and who's going to go through or whatever you call it. I really like those fixtures though, but that's well off.
It's just hard to call it. Like last season, I went early, didn't I, on part of the bus because I just thought, you know what, I like the look of my team now. I think this looks good. I'm going to play it, and it went all right. And there were some people that said, "Oh no, I'm going to leave it for this week later on," and then loads of stuff started happening, didn't it? Like Trent got injured, and like things started to not align.
Yeah, it got difficult.
But then later on, other people had a really, really good one. So I think it's got to line up for you. Lucky, if you think your team looks good enough for 8, then go for it. But at the minute, I think I've got too many players that are like not big goal scorers, but they're getting points. I think if I wait till later, I can easily get like the best front 3 and then some better goal scorers in midfield, maybe. But yeah, not putting anyone off of playing it, definitely.
I mean, any double could go well, couldn't it? You've got 180 minutes of football.
Or single.
Yeah, I like 13, 16. Obviously, double Premier League weeks are a bit of a bonus because it's possibly a little bit safer with the lineups, as we've noticed with the European games. But yeah, it's not often you see that batch of green on all the big European sides. So that one you point out there, Ben, is quite a nice week. There is one in 12 where Arsenal have Forest and is that Porto?
Sporting,
sorry. Then Liverpool have Southampton, Real Madrid, Villa, Crystal Palace, Juve, United, Ipswich, Bodo. So there's the Premier League fixtures are nice, but it's probably not that nice in Europe. But there's so many opportunities. Max Captain's obviously a good one as well to use in one of these if you're not too sure. But yeah, there is a lot of talk about game week 8. I think people want to get it out of the way as well.
Yeah, I mean, most people are fit now as well, aren't they? Like, I know Foden's not, but like, you've got your Haaland, you've got your Salah, you've got Watkins. They're all there right now, and they may not be. But yeah, I like the look of some of the Premier League doubles. To be fair, you know that there's going to be, that the best lineups are pretty much going to be out. I can get Palmer for 2 and Buemo for 2, Dwight McNeil for 2. All the big hitters. That's when I'm bringing McNeil back.
Where is
DT Philip? What would you do with Diaz? If you had him, would you set and forget him? I wouldn't set and forget.
I mean, he's not a set and forget, but I mean, as you messaged in the group, Scott, and said, what should I do? We both said Hull because you're going to miss his haul if you take him out. And that's what happened. And then obviously, off the back of that, though, you didn't have him this week. And he gets a 2-pointer. So
me and Fergie went the other way, didn't we? He was like, I'm going to bring him straight back.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. It's tough because everyone's impulsive as well. Like, we're all impulsive.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's football, and it's just what do you have a feel for? What do you have a feel for? Look at the fixtures. He's playing so well. He's such a good player. Such a good player. Like Ben said earlier, he's part of one of the most potent attacks in the league at Liverpool. So he's going to get points. So for me, at his price point, he's a keep for me. And yeah, just leave him in there until unless I see a better opportunity elsewhere.
Maybe you do just give yourself like you get him in and go, I'm going to keep him for this block, regardless.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, if you see at his price point, if you're thinking, look, there's somebody there 3-4 games I fancy more, and I think he'll outscore him, by all means, jump across to him because that's what you feel, and that it's just an educated guess of what's going to happen. But I mean, I don't think there's much. I know it gets tricky for Liverpool, the fixtures. Whereas obviously play Chelsea, Arsenal, but I mean, sometimes in these games it suits them for them to be more expansive. If they've got a team that are going to attack them, Diaz loves that counter attack and running in behind. That's what he wants.
We've got one on his team, but we're running late, so we'll have to save that. We'll put that in the team suggestions one, and we'll get back on that. Solanke, long-term Solanke or Watkins?
Oh God, they're both such bloody good picks, aren't they? I like Solanke. Yeah.
Just for what it lets you do with the extra, I think Solanke.
Yeah, as well. Yeah.
Watkins is still class. I don't think you go far wrong with either. Wisby's asked stick or twist Diaz, but yeah, I mean, I think it proved for me, didn't it, that if you're not going to be able to catch him on a 1 week or 2 week, I think you're just going to commit to a few games. I think because he's going to bang or bust almost. It seems.
Yeah.
Captain picks game week 7. I'm probably going to go Haaland. Have you thought about what you might do?
Do you know, I've not thought about it, but there might be a surprise coming up this week, I'd say.
But it's a single,
it's a single, and it proved fruitful last year, just picking someone a little bit outside the box and maybe even throw it captaincy on them.
I imagine that a lot of people probably will bring Palmer and captain him, maybe off the back of what he's just done. Forest at home definitely looks a shout. If you're going to bring him in, it is definitely he's a penalty taker. Like we've said it enough. Like in a single game, like he's up there with the best.
Yeah,
we've got a few of the big strikers as well. Salah's fixture's all right.
I think Saka's a good shout for captaincy.
Yeah, like he rarely blanks, does he?
Yeah, he's like if a few of the big hitters do blank, like Haaland, he's got to score goals to get points. Whereas Saka, even if he doesn't score, you can be pretty safe in the knowledge he's going to get you at least a few.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm going to go boring probably and go Haaland. Plenty of time to think about it, but it's still a home game against Fulham, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
Andy Barnett is asking about Baleba from Brighton. Obviously, just off the back of a really good haul this week, and he's right up there, I think, now on the total points. We'll do from midfielders. He's currently 7th.
Every time I see his name come up on my phone for a goal or assist or whatever it might be, he just reminds me of Shrek. Then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. That's all it reminds me of. I don't know whether the Brighton fans sing that.
They got it, haven't they?
Surely.
But on topic, so 2.7. He's got 18 points this week, 7.7 average. But what is he not?
He's not a double game week player, so he's not an option.
Would you pick him? Would you pick him over Rodgers?
Oh, no. No, I like Rodgers.
Would you pick him over Kulusevski?
Oof, no. You can't do, can you? Even if they were singlers, I wouldn't pick him over them two. So
I mean, we can credit that he's doing well. He has done well.
Definitely. Like, yeah, we're not slating these guys. They're doing all right.
Ben, you a believer?
Justin Believer.
Oh, don't talk about him.
Moving on swiftly.
Lee Hooper. He's got Doku, Savinho, Rico Lewis, and Nkunku and Porro. Nkunku's definitely going this week. But out of the other four, who would you get rid of due to rotation risk?
Did Nkunku get a nice haul last week, did he?
Smashed it. Yeah, did he? I think, did he
Hat-trick.
captain?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Lee captained him for the hat-trick.
Did he?
I'm sure he did.
Fair play. That's one of them punts that you just... That feels good, that. Nothing wrong with that. Out of the other four, there's only 3 there, is it? Am I Doku, Savinho? Oh, Lewis, Porro. Yeah, sorry.
Don't get Porro out. Porro's fine, isn't he, for a single?
Like Porro, like Lewis, like Savinho, and I like Doku, but he just seems to be. Yeah, Grealish is getting the nod, isn't he? I'd probably go Doku.
Yeah, I think you pick one out of Doku and Savinho, isn't it? Because it is a single. One, if you keep both of them and they both end up not playing, you'll be gutted. So
you just know, though, you take out Doku starts Savinho's bench. You just know that's happening.
Yeah, whichever one. Or maybe you can work it out. Maybe you can have a best guess. Whoever gets, like, say someone gets a load of minutes in the Champions League. But yeah.
Or just leave them both in. Leave them both in, and they're both explosive players. Can both do a little bit out of 20 minutes if they go on for the last 20 minutes.
I'd probably take Doku out as well. Keep Savinho, but yeah, guess. Ben.
Yeah, it's all wait and see, and what you hear in the press conferences, you probably won't hear anything. But yeah, at the moment, I'd say Doku. Nkunku probably will still hold midweek against Ghent, but if he's still not playing in the Premier League, and it's a single game week next week, yeah, you probably got to take him out.
Jackson's on fire, isn't he? He's doing well.
Yeah, really well.
Is that your captaining in your single? Is it time for Cunha or Jackson again?
I was looking at Cunha. I do like Cunha. They've got Brentford, haven't they? Sorry. It's not looking great for Wolves, if I'm honest. Still a top. I thought one of the top sides should have gone in from this summer. I think he's that good. Yeah, it'd be nice, wouldn't it? Jackson against Forest.
If you're going Jackson, it's got to be Palmer, surely. I think that's our questions. We'll quickly blast the leagues. If you're not one of our Patreon members already, there'll be a link in the description below. You get early access to the podcast, access to our Discord community. We've got exclusive articles. We do a monthly article of like players to target, fixtures, and we've added our weekly differentials. Brennan Johnson was one of them, wasn't they?
Yeah,
done well. We won't. The less we talk about Savinho, though, the better.
Well, we're only halfway through. Hat-trick in midweek.
But yeah, link in the description below for that. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon member, let's do some leagues, shall we?
Yeah.
Anyone got them up?
No.
Right, tag team. Oh, top 3 in the tag team.
Who's got the tag team up?
Myself and Connor. In second, Paul McNulty and Andrew Ferguson. And
Hustlers.
then in first, P. Miller and J. Miller.
The Millers. Meet the Millers.
Meet the Millers.
Shall I do the cash league?
Well played, guys.
Yeah,
Yep.
well played.
Scott just missing out in fourth. We'll do top three. A. Hollingsworth in third. Second, S. Irving. And top is Ben Ellis.
Well played.
Well played, lads. The Patreon only cash league, top three. In third, Ben Lee. Second, M. Tavares. And top of the shop, J. Mouse. Well played, lads.
Well played. Well played. That's it. Show's over. The rain stopped.
It has.
I don't just noticed that.
It knows. It knows.
Obviously, plenty
And
more.
your little
fixtures.
gerbil's going for one as well, ain't he? Could hear him sound like he was chopping some carrots up at the chopping board.
That what that was.
Well, I don't know.
That rain was so bad. I thought you sounded like you on the loo at one point.
No, it's just a bit of northern weather, that, isn't it, Ben?
Yeah.
Standard.
Right. Well, thanks everyone. Leave a like, subscribe if you're not already, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cheers,
Cheers, everyone.